And now for something completely different. We
Yay!
are going to talk about the Grimm's fairy tale, The Sea Hare, which I think most of you probably have already figured out that a sea hare is not some sort of magical, like, water rabbit. It's a slug, which is completely bizarre, and
That's amazing. I laughed for like 5 minutes when
I did too, because I did not realize that the first time that I read it. I mean, sea hare sounds like magical ocean bunny, which sounds amazing.
Mina and Lisa are like, oh, what?
I'm glad that we could share this moment with you in real time, those of you who are just now finding out.
I very much am delighted that we get to tell you this.
Yes.
But yes, a sea hare is a kind of sea slug.
Yes. So here we don't have, sorry, y'all's reactions are killing me, they're great. So we don't really have strictly a tower here, but we have an apartment with 12 windows, which looked out in every possible direction. That is high under the battlements in this princess's castle. So it's maybe not just its own, like, tower just on its own.
It's maybe not on its own, but it's definitely it's like a tower-esque thing.
It's very tower-esque, so we're including it. We think it's valid. And we are fascinated by the fact that the princess really obtains this supernatural vision in her tower. She can see everything that happens in her kingdom, which seems kind of awesome, maybe also a little bit terrible. Oh my god, did you really just pull up a picture of the slug?
This is a sea hare.
But
I saw somebody saying it is kind of cute. She thinks it's cute in the story, right? She's like, oh, I'll buy that. It's adorable. But I agree with the people who are saying, I think it's called a sea hare because look, it has the two little antennas on top of its head.
I think that you were correct, and thank you for demonstrating that, Brittany. That was helpful.
Yes, I felt like it was very important, so everybody knew we were all on the same page.
All right, so supernatural vision in the tower. Bringing it back.
Bringing it back.
So, she can see, really well out of the first one. She can see ridiculously well out of the second one. And by the time we get up to like Windows 10, 11, 12, she can see stuff that she should not be able to see with human eyes. It's completely supernatural. And we think that it's fascinating that this space for her provides a superpower, essentially. It's really, really interesting.
Super tower.
Super tower? Oh, man. Awful pun. So we think that this princess is kind of awesome, but also really murderous. Like, we're definitely not down with her, killing things or people or any of that. And we do not endorse her sticking 99 heads on posts. That is terrible. But the fact that she...
Did you see that?
What?
They're like sea slugs of the new hair accessory. And Stephanie just comment, do you mean HARE accessory?
Oh my god. Oh.
I love you guys. Stephanie, you're amazing.
Okay, so we don't think that she's awesome for her murderous tendencies, but we think that her desire for autonomy, which is so very pronounced, is really noteworthy, especially compared to some of the other princesses that we see in some of these tales and the ways that they're described. This one is just like, no, I don't want to get married. I'm not here for it. I want my own tower and my own kingdom, and I am not marrying any of these dudes. I just want to be left alone, just like someone said in the comments there. So that part of her is fascinating, even if we don't necessarily endorse the way that she goes about it.
Hashtag mood.
Yeah. So there are all kinds of sort of story building blocks in this tale that you see in a lot of other fairy tales and legends, but we love the way they come together in this tale. We have a bunch of animal helpers and also the sea slug at the end, I guess. But we have these animals that the prince or the aspiring prince, I'm trying to remember now if he's actually royal at the beginning. I don't think he is, but I'd have to read the story again.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But he basically gets help from these animals by not killing them, which we think is good. We endorse, not killing animals needlessly. He just went out to hunt to work off his frustration, I guess. And then instead of killing all these critters, they were like, no, really, we'll help you. And he was like, okay. So eventually these bargains with his animal helpers does pay off, and the fox helps him outsmart the princess. So the fox is the cleverest one. I think Brittany noted earlier that there's almost something kind of reminiscent of some Russian fairy tales from this
Yeah.
particular story. Again, this is a fairy tale that was collected and written down and edited by the Grimm, so it's a German fairy tale. But these tales do tend to travel widely, so it's possible it could have roots elsewhere. We also really want to know why the youngest brother was okay marrying the person who killed his two older brothers. We feel like that's maybe not a super great recipe for romance, but we're not here to judge. Also, this is kind of a sad story, really. I mean, the princess really just wanted to be left on her own, and she didn't want to get married. And yet, by the end of the tale, she gets put in her place. And again, she's murderous and really needs to stop killing people, so maybe in some ways it's good that she is put in her place. But we don't love that the solution or the answer to a woman who just really wants her autonomy is to force her to get married and make everything tidy. So it's a bit of a tricky one, but a very entertaining one. I mean, it has a magical slug stuck under her hair. I mean, just the whole thing is very, very strange.
And some people are talking in the comments. Like, the thing that I really hate about this story, I don't really care about his brothers because I'm a terrible person. But what I no, but what I do care about is the animals that die when they try to help him. Like, so they're just like, I mean, I guess, yes, they have their lives extended because he was going to kill them anyway. But the fact that she winds up killing them, I think, is super upsetting. and to go back to the Russian point, I think the places where I was seeing a connection to Russian fairy tales is in the three animal helpers, is in the idea of hiding inside an egg, and in the fox/wolf kind of character being the one who actually does wind up helping the most. Maybe Deborah can jump in with that a little bit more. She knows more about Russian folklore than I do. But I think that is an interesting connection to this story. But there is definitely some weirdness about this main character who. It's almost like they had to make her terrible and murderous in order, because obviously like Arwen just said in the comments, an autonomous woman is a dangerous woman. And if women are left to their own devices, they'll become murderous and put people's heads on spikes.
Which actually brings us to our first question, which is, what is your opinion on this particular princess? We're really torn. I mean, again, the murder, not great, but the desire to not have to marry against her will is something that is so human, I think, and is an impulse that's sometimes overlooked in some of these fairy tales. And here it's really front and center. We have one person saying, love her, very Game of Thrones. Yes, we can definitely get that.
True,
but yeah,
man.
it is true. Very Cersei destroying the patriarchy, says Michelle. Yeah, I mean, this is.
I like
how
everybody's like pretty much on board with the murdering. They're like,
yeah, I mean, there's a reason that when we read the story, we were like, we have to include this, even though it's absolutely bonkers. And she definitely has a Cersei vibe going on. So we want to also think about what this particular tower represents as compared to some of the other ones that we're talking about today, because we think this one is really quite different. It's kind of a place of power, really, and it's a place that gives her supernatural aid in a way that seems a lot more forceful, badass, active, I guess, than what the Lady of Shalott gets, because she does have this magic mirror and she has this sort of magic weaving situation. But the power that the princess in this story has is really over the top. She has supernatural vision. She has supervision. So it seems, yeah, it just seems like a really different kind of tower to me than some of the other ones. And also, we think about, who gets to actually occupy the space inside of the tower in this fairy tale. It's mostly just the princess, and it's because she chooses to be there, right? I mean, she can leave when she wants to, which is very different than most of the other fairy tales that we're talking about. But we also see the third brother infiltrating the tower in his shape of the sea hare, which is really interesting. So those are just some of the questions we had and we're wondering about for this particular fairy tale.
You guys are so clever and wonderful in the comments. Beheaded them with her sharp wit. She does go to the market to buy the slug. Yeah, she is not trapped in the tower, which is very different from the other tower stories we've getting.
Danielle says, but also maybe by showing mercy, she could also get what she wants. Yeah, I mean, you would think, and she does show mercy a couple times in the fairy tale, although maybe not in the most merciful way possible. Excuse me.
She literally only grants mercy to the youngest brother because she thinks he's kind of cute. So I don't know.
So. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there are better ways, right? Like, there are better ways to go about, securing your autonomy than murdering 99 people. But I think there's also there's something about her that I think so many of us kind of get, even if we're not really down with her actual actions. Like, we're not going to go around and murder 99 people and put their heads on sticks, but we're also kind of like, but, female autonomy would be really great, So it's complicated.
Is definitely complicated.
I like Rachel's comment. The other 99 didn't ask for mercy, did they? They just tried to dominate and got shut down. Oh, it's
not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No. Oh my god, I love it. And can we just? I know we talked about the slug already, but can we talk about the fact that the suitor transforms into a slug and spends a long time in the story as a slug, which I think is very amusing. I also like the fox becoming like the merchant and being like, you want this slug, don't you?
Pretty fantastic. And for some reason she's like, yeah, definitely, this slug, I'll take it. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now we need an animated movie where he's like, oh, shark, I'm gonna hide in your hair.
Only if you voice the slug.